On this show, we feature magician Phil Ackerly. You might remember me from my TV shows in the 1980s and 90s. And now I host a show featuring some of the most inspiring and inspirational people. Welcome to Magical People. Phil Ackerly is a multi-talented performer combining magic, comedy, and fun for all ages at corporate events and private parties. Phil's 30-plus years of experience allows him to entertain a group of kids in the morning, an adult birthday party in the afternoon, then end up on stage for a corporate banquet of 300 tech professionals. Phil was voted Best Entertainer by a leading family magazine 5 times and was elected into the Hall of Fame. He's won many prestigious awards from leading magic organizations, and he's performed around the country, including off-Broadway in New York City and at the Magic Castle in Hollywood, California. Phil recently moved to Reno's Sparks region in northern Nevada, where audiences from Sun Valley to Gardnerville are booking his services. He continues to service his clients in Northern California and the San Francisco Bay Area. In 2023, Phil created his product company, Ackerly Builds, where he handcrafts magic props and routines for the working magician. You can find out more about these products and to order them from his shop page. Okay. And here we are. I'm so excited to have a very someone who's special to me because I bought a couple of props from him, and that's magician Phil Ackerly. Thank you for agreeing to come on this show, Phil.
Well, thank you, Michael, and thank you for having me. I appreciate this. Looking forward to our talk.
It's a pleasure. And what excited me right away, I sort of discovered you online. I'm on Facebook and all social media, and so are you as well. And I went looking, I guess we're going to segue right away into the cards. I was looking at the time we spoke off camera for a bit for a product that involves a clear plastic container and jumbo cards rising and a ribbon on either side that people hold. It's magicians will know right away what I'm talking about. Lay people may have seen it, or non-magicians may have seen it. And sure enough, I come across a video. At the time, you were doing this in a number of, and you troop. You do what we call as magicians. You're a real trooper. I remember two summers I did like 15 rural shows, what I call rural shows, in the 80s and 90s. And it was so fun to see you doing these shows and making the kids and the adults happy and laugh. And lo and behold, you're doing your version of the rising cards. You have two. You have a regular size and you have a jumbo one with a gorgeous ribbon tied around and a person at one end holding it and you're holding it. And I know, as a magician, I know what's going on, but it looked so good. And I thought, this is meant to be.
Now, many of you have probably done card tricks before, but when magicians do it, they make it look easy. That's because we spend a lot of time with the cards. It's a little known fact that playing cards won't perform for just anybody. The secret is to get to know the cards on a personal basis. And you understand they all have their own idiosyncrasies, their own personalities. So the secret is to be firm and direct and never let them get the upper hand. And when you do that, they'll do just about anything you ask them to do. So tonight I'm going to have 3 cards selected. Somebody's going to take out a card and show it around. The other person's going to look at a card, and the third person's going to merely think of a card. After we have 3 cards selected, we'll put them through their little paces. So Mike, you're right here. You can stay seated. Just say stop anytime. Stop. Right there. Take the card. Look at it. Remember it. Show it around. I'll turn around so I can't see. Hold it up a little higher, please. Okay, good. No, I'm just kidding. I don't look. I'm so glad you got that. I'm glad you got that. Got it? it back anywhere you want. All right, and can I trust you? Okay, good. I'm gonna have you just say stop anytime.
Stop.
I'm just starting. Okay, good. Got it? See the card? And Terry, would you think of a card? Just think of one. Okay, good. And now, would you join me on stage? Let's give.
Of course.
Yes, my mind's not working, but let's give
Lorna.
Lorna a nice hand for her. Stand right over here for me, please. Lorna, you want to mix them up a little bit? As she does that, you can see that I keep my cards on a leash.
Oh.
Actually, I'm using ribbons so you know that neither I nor Lorna play any part in this scenario. I had one glass
How
of
much
wine.
tiramisu have you had?
One
It
glass,
wasn't the tiramisu.
one glass, 3 fills.
Okay, I'll take. By the way, this is off camera. I never drink when I perform. By the way. Okay, so the cards go in the box.
That's what they always say.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, now you don't have a speaking part in the show. Okay.
Hold the ribbon right here,
know.
please. Make her get back here.
Okay. Now hold them steady. I'll give them a little swing. The secret is to get to know the cards on a personal basis. Be firm and direct, but never let them get the upper hand. That's right. Have a stern word. Now let's see. Who picked the first card? You. So what was your card?
Jack of clubs.
Ooh, royalty.
Yeah.
They're a little stubborn. You know, in this country we don't have royalty, so they can be a little, you know what I mean? So would you please ask your card, be firm. You do remember the card, right? You'll know who it was?
Jack.
You looked him in the eye and let him know who's boss?
Yes.
If you would please call out the name of your card, ask your card to rise.
Jack of clubs, rise.
Oh
my
Hold steady. The Jack of clubs. Now the next card. Who picked the next card? You did? What was your card? You don't remember? That's why I had you show it around everybody.
I know. 2 of hearts.
That's right.
I remember.
Angie's put on her own show.
2 of hearts.
2. Oh, 2.
Yeah, that's right. 2.
Oh, inferiority complex. Low ranking order. Ask your card to rise, but please be very gentle with the 2s. Ask your card to rise. Just
Will
say,
the real Slim Shady please rise? No.
that's good. I think it did work.
There's something's rising.
Oh, it's a little shy. It's a little shy. If you would please go ahead and remove the card. Is it the 2?
Oh.
And now the last card must behave very quickly because once it hears his name, it has to respond. Terry, what card are you thinking of?
Ace of spades.
Ask your card to rise.
Rise, ace of spades.
There it is, Ace of Spades.
Okay, come on.
Thank you, Lorna. Thank you to my friends here. Well, I gotta tell you something. I went for a walk this afternoon, and you gotta be careful when you walk out there because, well, I don't know if I hit my foot on a boulder, but my toe is killing me. Is it swollen? Is my foot swollen? Look at my toe. Is it swollen?
It stinks.
Okay. I got a rock in my shoe. You ever get a rock in your shoe?
Yeah.
This
Is it
side?
rocking in
This
Lily?
size?
What?
It's solid.
That's a toad in a shoe.
Oh my gosh.
Ace of spades, please rise. The ace of spades. Well, thank you very much for your help.
And so I dug a little deeper. Ackerly builds. Oh, you build stuff. Holy cow. And there it was. And in my opinion, I'm not just trying to be nice to you, Phil. I think you know me by now, and the folks who follow me, they know that. I have nothing to gain by saying this. the quality is unsurpassed. The meticulousness and the thought that went into the construction of the regular size rising cards, we'll call them, and the jumbo size rising cards, unsurpassed. If you're and I'm Jewish, so I'm going to speak a little bit Yiddish in a way. If you're a bit of a mensch, you're not going to destroy the workings of it. This should last everyone a lifetime, a magician a lifetime. But yet you include extra things, I'll say, in case things do break.
And by the way, folks, if you're listening to Michael, he is not just saying this, he really means it too.
I do. And it's unsolicited. You didn't ask me to do this. I'm not getting paid. It's fantastic. So I thought, you know what? It's so reasonably priced. I'm going to order from Phil, from you. And I saw you performing, and something resonated for me because when I was trouping back in the 80s and 90s, I had the same attitude. All I wanted to do was make kids and adults laugh. I wanted to entertain them using magic, magic props, and maybe move them a little bit. And so we'll fast forward a little bit. I buy the product. I knew it would be fantastic. It even comes in a little, mine was maroon. I don't know if they're all maroon bags. The jumbo one was a black velour bag. Ah, there we go. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. You thought of everything, and I feverishly opened it up, and I knew already the workings. But I thought I'm going to go through the instructions, the video, which goes into great detail that you included as well. You left nothing to chance, thankfully. You assume nothing in your videos. It's great. And it now has a permanent place in my show with a little bit of a ghost theme. There it is. I was hoping you'd have it. Even the box is fantastic. I'm all about graphics. I've been a graphic
This is the first one you bought, Michael. This is the poker size.
Yes.
The bicycle deck.
Yes.
Yeah.
And excuse me. You can see I'm getting all excited about it. And I haven't been disappointed. Fast forward, I ordered, because I can't just have the regular size or poker size, if you will. I went and ordered the jumbo one as well. There it is. There it is. You're teasing us with it. We won't go into detail about the thinness or thickness. I don't think that's important, but the visualness of it, and it's a whole show. You're filling the stage by having an assistant from the audience at one end, and you're at the other end with this gorgeous ribbon at both ends, and ta-da, each card rises 3, as per the creator of the effect, who is Jim Steinmeier. Yes, I said his name, and he should be credited. In a book called The Conjuring Anthology, the effect is actually called Onward and Upward. And you have so much guts, Phil. I would never dream of tackling that project. He describes in detail how to put it together, but you went ahead and did it. And I'd like a little bit of thoughts or feedback on that process, a little bit of what inspired you and so forth. So now we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I must have been nuts when I decided to make and sell these. But so this first appeared in Magic Magazine, I think in 1994, and I made it. I performed it in shows, and I love it because it's something I could do for my corporate and my adult shows. And kids even just as amazed at it as adults. But of course, kids and playing cards, it's a little different animal. But then, and I don't remember what made me do it, but I asked Jim Steinmeier and I asked Stan Allen, both of them, and I got written permission to make and sell them. And I sold a little over 100 of them. Now, this is back in 2000. And I made it exactly like the Steinmeier book, by the way. So I pretty much follow that. But it was all made with cardboard, glued together, 5 sides. I had a printer that would cut cardboard for me into the sizes. They're all hand glued. And it was a pain in the butt to glue in all those boxes up. And of course, they would break because it was just glued edges. Anyway, got a lot of, actually, there's a discussion on Magic Cafe about this if you go look for it. But anyway, I stopped making them because I just got tired of making them all. I had already sold over 100. And then around the pandemic time, I came out with a better way of making them. And I even asked Steinmeier again for permission. He just said, go for it. He said, don't put my name on it. Just go for it. I don't want my name on it because I want people calling me saying, hey, Phil's making this. Did you know that? So, and he graciously gave me permission again to make them. And actually, they're real smooth. Oh, and of course, there's many improvements I've made to make it much smoother for that thread, if you will, to glide through, and a couple of other little improvements. And as you know, Michael, with all my products, I take pride in what I make and what I do, and I take pride in the workmanship and how I package it and everything, and little nuances. And this is the poker size rising cards. And let's see, it goes this way. You hold it like this. Oh, this is all set up. This comes out, but the cards rise up out of the box. And I like Steinmeier's presentation, and I like how he gets into it. And yeah, and I've gotten some great comments from you and from, I probably sold about 25 of these in last year with my new design. So,
Wow, and deservedly so as well. Again, the quality, and this isn't meant as a promotion. I'm genuinely coming from a real place here. The quality is fantastic. Oh my goodness, hold that up again. That's the
this is
jumbo.
the jumbo version.
Oh,
And
look
this
how
is
gorgeous.
based on the new card box side. And this holds a whole complete deck of cards, by the way.
Yes.
And yeah,
See, that makes more sense to me. That makes more sense to me than a clear plastic holder, or we call it a houlette as magicians. And that makes total sense. It's more, as you call it, organic. And it just all makes sense. It looks and feels so good. But it's also, I want to talk very briefly, or have rather you talk a little bit about presentation. It's all about the presentation. You may have the best props. One might have gone out and spent tons of money, as magicians we tend to, and really it's all about presentation. It's all about, can we either grab their attention or emotionally bring them in? And I have to say, I really appreciated this. Somewhere a few months ago, you mentioned that to me, and I never forgot that. I try to do that. I try to bring in an emotional slant, something that they can feel either during or at the end. But you're a natural born, as far as I'm concerned, entertainer. And you certainly, you grab them. And I'd like you to chat or talk a little bit about that, about the importance of patter, about routining, and about the emotional maybe aspect.
Well, I guess I'm kind of a humble person. So one thing go back. One thing, I've never really established a character. I think I have a persona, but I never really had a character. I just wasn't, I didn't come from a theater background. So, I don't dress up for Halloween. I mean, I'm not into costumes, but I just want to be myself. And I guess I've also learned by listening to other magicians. They say, I really like your style. And what is it? I don't know. You just speak to us. You just speak to us as humans, as who we are. And so I just try to share things in my life as a parent. I share it as a parent. I share things I experience in life, and I just try to find things. And I hate the word organic, but I guess that's what it is, kind of organic. So, but going with this rising cards, I pretty much did Steinmeier's routine or presentation, although I had to modify it because some of it just wasn't me speaking. But I just tried to find who I was. And maybe I'm jumping around a little bit, but this is something I always encourage people. They say, I don't know how to present. I need some ideas. I just say, just pick it up and just play with it, and let yourself just let whatever's on your mind, in your heart, let it come out. And oh wow, that was pretty good. I didn't think about that. Write it down, And many routines started out with me just doing the trick. And then as time went on, I learned little beats, I learned little comments, I learned, oh, an angle here. And it just kind of organically developed. So with the rising cards, I just, Steinmeier's thing is that, playing cards are a lot like people. They all have their own little idiosyncrasies, their own personalities. You know what the real secret of a magician is to get to know the cards on an individual basis. So as I learn, I try to talk to the people and not talk at them. I learned that from my acting with Bob Fitch. So,
Yes.
and as far as presentation goes, I think you just have to be comfortable with who you are. I remember something that, Glenn Haywood once said is that you have to be, well, first of all, you've got to just accept your quirks, your insecurities. You just got to accept who you are and just be okay with it. And if you're okay with it, then the audience is okay with it.
Absolutely.
And Rosalind Russell once said is that, how do I put it? You should be able to stand up in front of an audience naked and do a pirouette. So I think if you just be comfortable with who you are, and granted, I have my own little insecurities about who I am, but I just try to give the audience the best I can. Because I remember Max Maven once said, make me care. And so, when people come see my show or I go to their house to do a show, they're giving me 1 hour of their time. And that's precious. And so I want to make sure that their time is well spent. And, that's how I start raising my rates when I realized, wow, I think I'm worth a lot more now because of the reaction I was getting. And I win the audience over. Michael, one of my favorite quotes I say is, when I arrive, I'm a stranger, but when I leave, I'm part of the family.
Oh, I love that. I really love that. And it's accurate too. You're not just saying that. It's not just a wish or wish fulfillment. It's absolutely true. But you also have that kind of vibe, if you will. We'd call it vibe. People would call it energy. But it's really, you're likable, just naturally likable. I don't think it's put on. And that's another thing that amazed me is that there are, and again, I may embarrass you, there are so few magicians who really come across as genuine. And I'm including the ones that don't wear a costume, the ones that do wear costumes. I'm talking about the whole gamut of age ranges from a newbie, what we might call newbie or beginner, to seasoned professional. And that's one of the things that's so important that you seem to possess is a genuineness. You seem to fit in any kind of show, be it, and you do any kind of venue. I've noticed, and I've noticed that on Facebook as well, from the country fairs, which are my personal favorite, to tell you the truth, to the corporate happenings, the corporate events, birthday parties. You just fit in and or you adapt and you're flexible. And I think that's number one. That's very, very important for a performer. It may take time. I don't know if newbies or new magicians can kind of do that transition because maybe they're not sure of who they are yet. They're still concerned with the tricks. But we're both very, very comfortable. I could stand up in front of thousands of people and have 20,000 people, or maybe a handful of people, and the stage is my home. And I get the same feeling with you that the stage is your home. You're probably just as comfortable on stage as you are in your own living room.
I think that's important. I think it's important to be comfortable. 30 some years ago, when I got laid off from high tech and started doing this full time, I was on stage doing a routine, and the agent there said, you need to loosen up. And okay, because I was just too stiff.
Yes.
And then I started studying improv and I studied comedians. And what I liked about them was they themselves. Oh, and then I saw Michael Finney at my comedy club back in the 90s. He did some comedy, and then he stopped or segue into talking about himself, a little bit about his background.
Yes.
And he had reasons for that. But all of a sudden I felt like, oh wow, I'm getting to know this person. And I started to feel that he was connecting with us more and I was connecting with him more. Then I began, oh wow, I like this guy. And I think that's it. I think you have to break down that fourth wall. I think you have to be with the audience.
Yes.
Kind of losing my train of thought here, but I think it's important. You got to loosen up, and the audience can sense it when you're stiff or when you're nervous. They can feel it. But I just did a corporate gig last week at a banquet. They wanted me the opening drum group canceled. They had me do 20 minutes. People came in to start the convention, and I thought, what am I going to do? So I just said, hey, welcome to Reno, the biggest little city in the world. And I just, if I can just relax, get them to relax, get them to feel comfortable, and their reaction immediately got me even more comfortable. And a couple of jokes, they laughed, and so that was it. Just understand where they're coming from, understand what they need at the moment, and just be with them.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. And I think that comes maybe with experience with doing shows.
Oh, it does. It does. Because Michael, at the beginning, sorry, I'm interrupting, but at the beginning, that wasn't me at all. I was very stiff. I remember doing a birthday party back in the 80s, and I remember the mom looking at me, she's going, and it was probably because it was my delivery. I was probably like, hey, kids, okay, you want to see another trick? Okay, I'm going to do another trick now. There was no energy in my voice.
Yes.
Energy. And so there's no substitute for experience. Just get out there and work. And also, you've got to have control and command of your magic and your props and your routines. And that's another thing I'll say. If you've got, and this is probably everybody knows this already, but if you've got command and control of your props, then it's not about the props. You can then focus on the audience, and you can just pick up the prop and go to it instead of going, okay, let's see. I'm going to pick this up. So it just comes with a lot of practice. And if anybody is starting out and they're listening to this right now, be a sponge, soak up as much information, as much advice as you can, but not just soak it up. But I mean, you've got to really be serious about it, and you got to give back too. So you're not there just to take, but you're there to learn. And also, I'll say this too. Speaking about learning, I've coached a lot of people, and I find that they're not coachable because you start to tell them something, they immediately argue with you or they defend themselves. Well, no, I do it this way because of this. Okay. No. Let me show you what I do. Well, wait a minute, I'm helping you. So
exactly,
you got to be willing just to listen.
Yes. It's so crucial. It's so crucial. I'm going to bring up an illusion that I've seen you do. You don't market it, but I've seen you do it a couple of times, and it moves me. And it fits in exactly about what you've just been talking to me about. And that's the dancing handkerchief in the jar.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never seen anybody present it that way. It almost makes me want to bring out mine. I've got the full version, and the jar is the separate, the extra one. I'm hoping you're going to market that as well, but it's already being manufactured, as far as I know, by, and I forget his name off the top of my head.
Sean.
Yes. Yes.
Oh no, I'm not going to be manufacturing that. That's extreme hanky.
But your routining, your patter moved me. It drew me in. And if I recall correctly, you can please correct me if I'm wrong. I think you sit on a stool. You've done your show, you've gone through it, and this is kind of the wrap up, but not. And you're sitting on a stool,
Right.
you're talking directly to your audience.
Yes, I love that moment.
Oh, that's so special. Did you want to elaborate on that or not? It's
Well, I
sort of,
remember watching Sean Farquhar on some video. He sat down with the audience,
yes,
and to me, it just changed the whole dynamics. It was like being in his living room. And also, if I don't have a stool, that was the Oakland Magic Circle stage show, I think. Oh no, that was a competition. I was
okay.
competing, so I was, dealing with the time factor. But I actually brought that stool just to do that moment because, and it was also a nice segue. I think I talked about um, something about, I can't remember now, but it's talking about something in life about enjoying moments or making differences and changes, whatever.
Yes,
I think sitting down gave it more weight for making that transition. And also
yes,
I used the stool, I think, to put the the bottle on there. So,
exactly.
but I think all those that's what I love about what I do. I love these little bits. In a way, you're kind of like, if I can say it nicely, you're screwing with the audience's emotion. You're
Yes,
manipulating them,
yes.
and but it's got to be genuine too. So,
Absolutely. There's a certain level of intimacy brought to that effect too, where the spotlight, if you will, is on you. You've put away, in essence, the effects, the props, and you're chatting with them. And it's a dramatic moment in a way. It's to me one of the epitomes of presentation, of staging and theatrics when performing magic. I'm going to quickly segue into a lovely effect, beautiful effect that makes complete sense that you've come up with, I believe. I believe it's original mostly to you, called the 13 Rings.
yes.
And I'd love you to talk a little bit about the origins of it, because it looks beautiful. I've seen now at least four videos in different venues where you're performing it simply because I think it's elegant and beautiful. And it's magical, of course. Ah, there it is. I love that idea too. It makes sense. You've got a ring holder, a holder that one might see in a jewelry store, if you will. Now, there's for the magicians out there, there's a little bit more to it. Look, it even has a thing where you can put your hand under, or it won't fall. You've thought of everything, of course. And for the magicians out there, there's even, I believe, some kind of attachment or Velcro thing in two places. But I don't know if you want to elaborate on that.
This thing
Um,
here, you mean?
yes, yes,
Okay. So, a good friend of mine who passed away, well over 10, 15 years ago, Paul Burleson, was a builder, and I was already building, but he inspired me too. But this is one routine that he shared with me, and I immediately went home and made my own. And I didn't know the origins of it, but I thought, oh, there's so much potential with this. And so I learned this from him, if you will. And he had little metal strips that were held down with a rubber band. The idea of this holder, or this clip, if you will, this is not necessary for the trick. It just
right.
keeps the rings from falling off. When you go to pull it out of your case to perform the 13 rings, you're like, oops, it's the 11 ring. So, and,
Exactly.
and it's, I started selling this year in my company, Ackerly Builds, and I was quite surprised, actually, and elated to see how how well received it was and how popular it was.
Yeah.
So what's great about this? Oh, so the origin of this, I studied, I read up on it. It actually, the idea goes back to keto, and Mac Magic and Tannins came out with something called Chain Lightning, was similar. And I actually talked to Adam at Tannins this summer and told him I'm coming out with this, and I just let you know. He'll, oh, go for it, go for it. But this is nothing like theirs because there's no switching device. It's
Yes.
all pretty organic. So the effect is you've got 13 rings, and you pull them off. And what's great about this, again, there's no other props really. and you got 13 rings. I hand them out. Oh, and then you do need a handkerchief. That's the only thing. So I pull it out of here, and then this is great because then it goes into the handkerchief, goes up like this. The person holds it. If it's for a kid, I have the boy hold it. I have the girl hold the wand. And now what's great is that they get to do the magic. So there's the 13 rings. The girl takes the wand, does this, or if it's a man and woman, I have the husband hold it, and the wife gets to do the magic. So I tell the husband, you're going to do what she tells you to do, okay? Hey, get used to this. You've been married for 13 years or whatever. And then boom, boom, boom. And again, there's no fancy gimmicks or props. And then you lift it up and they're linked in a chain.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And look at the finale, the show at the end. You're holding it up, and will automatically elicit applause, whether someone from the audience is left holding it or you. It's beautiful. It's beautiful theater, and it's just good looking props as well. As a magician, I know, I assume what goes on, and the ease of handling allows one, again, it sounds like a commercial, it's not meant to be, the ease of handling allows you for more presentation, for you to focus on connecting with the audience, and again, it's a means to an end, and it's magical. It looks so cool.
My friend David Martinez shared with us, he bought this. He's back in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and he did this at a wedding reception. And he had the couple up there and he played some romantic music. And I thought, oh, thank you, David. That's a great idea. So I just did an 80th birthday, and I just knew it was going to kill. So the first song, what was it? Oh, it was At Last by Etta James. That came on. There's a video. I may have sent that video to you, but then she starts getting real fresh, if you will, with her husband. I turn to the kids, hey, kids, don't look. This is PG. Cover your eyes. And then I played Shakira. Then I played a song by Barry White. Anyway, so they loved it, and of course, and they get all the credit because they're doing the magic. What's neat about this is that you do one move and you're done, and then you get to sit back and let them.
Exactly.
My line is that let your spectators be the star of the show.
Exactly. I think it's genius. I really do. It's a thing of beauty. Look at that. That looks
I've been toying with coming out with this for a few years, and I had to do all my research to procure all the parts. And the great thing about it too is that there's a lot of theme ideas you can come up with. I know couple of people in the East Coast have different colored rings, and they talk about friendship.
Yes.
And so there's a nice little tie-in right there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Working together. 13 rings. That's this one right here.
Yeah, let's look at the box, because again, the graphics, they look so cool. Look at that.
Yeah, well, nothing fancy. I just did this at home. I guess I'm apologizing, but it's not a fancy label. Because, I'm not making hundreds of these. These are all made by hand. So someday I'll have fancy packaging. And can't open it.
That's part of the charm. That's part of the charm of it. Because you open up this box and it's like, you're not opening up Pandora's box, but you open it up and this magic comes out of it on so many levels. I want to segue into a personal favorite of mine. I don't own it yet, but I will. It's what magicians would call knots off silk, but with a ghost. And I thought that was the cutest thing, the most clever thing. And in my, I guess, more than 40 years of experience in magic, and I don't know, since 81, I've been a professional magician, but I started when I was 14. I've seen, of course, knots off silk, and it's elegant, it's gorgeous, it's usually done to music or sometimes as stand-up, and it looks good. The effect itself looks cool. Audiences are always surprised at the end, which I'm not going to give away necessarily. But your climax to the routine is a ghost. And I don't know if you have the handkerchief handy, the silk scarf handy.
You? Yeah, so the history on this is best ever knots off silk by McBride. And 5-6 years ago, I shared with him my idea for the ghost image. And he said, okay, great, good. And then last year, just a year ago, next week, he said, hey, why don't we market this and we'll put your name on it. You can sell them too. So I have the rights, the permission to sell these. These are all made overseas, but anyway, so I can sell these, and I have been. And I'm always looking for ways of personalizing, a way of customizing. And the ghosts, I saw the image of the ghosts. I saw those 2 holes for the eyes. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. Now, granted, back then you couldn't get these, so I actually made my own, to be honest. And I kind of like the design that I'd come up with. But this is the design that Jeff had ended up picking. So this is great. So I was performing this during the summer, and I realized this pattern just kind of happened organically. I say, for kids, I say, hey kids, now I realize it's not Halloween, and that's a real shame because I have a really cool Halloween trick, but I can't show it to you because it's not Halloween. Sometimes I go pause and they'll say, do it. And if they don't, I just say, what would you like to see it anyway? And of course they go, yeah. And then last January, I said I did this, and then I had a Christmas trick that was really cool, and I couldn't do that because it was January, but I got permission. I said, and it became a running gag. I realized it's not Christmas, and that's really a shame because I have a really cool Christmas trick, but I can't show it to you because it's not Christmas. Do it anyway. Really? And I love that moment. Really? Of course I was going to do it anyway. But so this is the knots off silk, and let's see if I can do this close up. Yeah. That's one.
Ooh.
And in the video that I put together, which is on McBride's site as well as mine, you can do this with 3 knots if you want. Now, I haven't marked the corners. I haven't marked the corners to hold it up right, but there it is. And
beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What a neat, for lay people, for regular audiences, that'll be a surprise ending.
I asked Paul Draper if during the summer, if he would write me a short little routine, a patter, obviously, that wasn't, that, anyway, write a routine. And he wrote me something, and it's in the video that also you get the link for this. And so that's also in there too. So I know that someone else does this and uses a rhyming pattern. Yeah, but this is, you can get these for me on my shop page as well. I think they're $65. If you buy 2 of them, you can then get 3 knots. And if you're familiar with the knots off silk, you could then also cut a hole for the mouth, and you get 3 holes.
Beautiful.
Also get a backup handkerchief as well.
I think it's so clever. It's clever, it's entertaining, and I think you'll agree with me as well. You were talking about coming up with pattern maybe on the fly. I found when I was doing tons, literally about 250 on average magic shows a year for about a dozen years back in the 80s and 90s, plus 9 years of the TV show, I found that sometimes kids' comments are brilliant and funny, and I'd end up using those comments, their remarks, in future shows. It's like, oh my God, these kids are so smart. And so it will lend itself. If you're good at improvising as well, you may start off with one routine, and right in the middle, if you're crazy like I am, it's like you get inspired based on your audience, and you might change or alter the pattern a little bit based on any interaction. So it's so exciting. As we begin to wrap up, Phil, I want to thank you so much for agreeing to do this and sharing some of your own special brand of magic with us this day. And I want to reiterate, I know that I put up the in titles your address for Ackerly, but again, I'd like you to mention it.
Well, you can get to my my website. Actually, easiest way is type in makephilappear.com. philappear, one word, .com, which takes you to ackerly-entertainment.com. And if you then click on the shop page, that's where I have my products that I sell, and you can find them there as well. And there you go.
Awesome. Again, I love your energy. I'm so thankful for it. And I want to say go hire Phil for shows and this and that, but it's not my intention to do that. But if anybody is watching this, they're going to naturally see you're a natural born entertainer and performer, a seasoned entertainer, as sometimes we refer to performers who have performed a lot. You're a delight. It's so good. I'm so thankful that you came and joined us this day, Phil.
Thank you,
And
Michael.
I'll be buying more of your products. I'm busy, obviously, doing this show and creating my own and doing tons of other stuff. But I'm hoping that you'll join us again sometime. Will you?
Well, of course, I'd be happy to. I'm working on some new products now. And maybe I'll just wrap it up by saying, you know what? I'm happy to answer any questions you buy from me. And, if you don't understand it, and I understand we buy a lot of stuff, but we never do it. We never start working on it. But if you have any questions, no question's a dumb question with me. Seriously, because I've been in your shoes before, not you, but all those that started out. And so I'm happy to answer questions, happy to help you work through something that you bought from me and you don't quite get it. But so I'm always here to help out.
Awesome. And your instructional videos are amazing. You leave nothing to the imagination. But I want to reiterate as well to all of you out there to not just buy magic. This goes for young and old alike. But make it into something. The props are a means to an end. They're meant to entertain. They're merely props, but you're there to entertain, to maybe move people as well. And I knew right away that by watching you and watching your videos online and everything, that we were online, if you will, with the same kind of attitude. Number one, we do our magic for them, for our audiences. We're not doing it for us anymore. It's sort of like, I want to make you happy. I want to make you laugh. And I want to emphasize that for aspiring or perspiring young magicians out there, and even the seasoned ones as well. Above all, have fun with your magic, and your audiences will have fun with you along the way as well.
And Michael, one thing too, I remember someone saying, you talk about have fun with your magic, but the question is the audience having fun?
Yes.
That's what it's about.
Yes.
Make sure that they're enjoying it. And, oh, I love this trick. I'm going to do this trick because I love it. No, but is it the right trick for the audience? Is it the right venue for that venue? And it's hard sometimes to pick and choose what you want to do, but it is about them. It's about giving them the best experience, because you do want to be invited back again.
Yes.
And so give them the best experience and when they leave, make them happy that they spend a few moments with you, because it's our time with the audience is precious.
Yes.
And, the best, I guess, best response we can get from them is, I loved it. Thank you very much. Big smile on their faces, and that's what matters.
Totally. Thank you once again, Phil Ackerly, and I want to thank all of you out there as well for joining us this day, and we'll look forward to getting together really, really soon. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Phil.